thank you guys so much for the 100 subs. It really does mean a lot. Thank you so much for all the support you've given me. Even though it's like, I'm not that big, you guys are extremely helpful. And really does mean a lot. I hope that all of you guys will just continue being awesome like you guys always are. Giving me wonderful comments, which I don't deserve for some of my videos, like my Hero Sluts video. Which honestly, if you guys did not watch it, I did not criticize My Hero except for the fights, because they kind of suck at points, not gonna lie. I want to introduce my guest here for my 100 sub special, Shaw King.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here, and congrats on 100 subs.
Thank you so much. So this is gonna be a 100 sub special where we go over the greatest Haikyuu moments, which includes sad moments, hype moments, any type of hype moment, or any type of moment that was just phenomenal in the show of Haikyuu. Which I haven't listened to all, but they were a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll let my guest start off. What is the first moment you have?
This might be, maybe a bit too early, but since you said all moments, I think the first big moment that actually stands out to me is actually in the very first episode at the end, and it's when you realize that Kageyama and Hinata are gonna be teammates and not rivals as expected, which I think is pretty funny because, they spend the entire episode showing, Hinata and everything he's worked towards in order to actually compete on like a team, on a volleyball team in middle school, and he faces Kageyama and gets defeated quite handedly, but they both made a pretty big impact on each other for different reasons, and he kind of swears that he's going to be his next rival, but then is surprised to find out that he's going to the same high school as him. So it's kind of subverting all of our expectations at once to see like, oh wait, these guys are going to be teammates, and I think that's a really cool way to start off the series and already kind of like wake us up and realize like it's not what we expected, or it's not what we thought we were in for.
The second episode when they fought Tanaka, the captain. No, Tanaka joined them, and then they fought the captain and the other two, right?
I think there was a few later, but it was like they were playing on the same team as Tanaka, and then Daichi was helping out the other first years, Tsukishima and Tamaguchi. Yeah, I'm saying his name right.
I think when I first got introduced to Shikishima was just hype.
Yeah.
I just love the dude. But I think the very first hype moment that actually got me kind of hooked on the series was also the first episode.
Oh,
and
nice.
that was when Kageyama was first introduced, and you just see this presence that kind of sends a shiver down Hinata's spine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that caused him to need to go pee. And then later on in that same episode when Hinata first did that quick spike, which ended up in a failure.
Yeah.
And it shot Kageyama. That was one of the hypest moments of that episode.
Yeah.
Other than, of course, Kageyama's presence, or Hinata just vowing for that he will beat Kageyama.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Which hopefully will happen at some point.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, like, what were the goals established in the first episode, and then, we all have different impressions, I'm not gonna, we're not gonna get into spoilers for things, but it's just...
Manga spoilers.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into them, but everyone knows what I'm talking about, but it's interesting just to see how, when you look back at the series as a whole, just seeing what was established in that very first episode.
Yeah, very much so. I think, kind of skipping ahead... Yeah. A little bit for one of my second ones was I know this is like season 3,
mm-hmm.
but I want to get out one of the greatest moments in Haikyuu, probably one of my favorites of all time, and you know what this is.
Yeah.
Season 3, when Tsukishima finally gets passionate about volleyball.
Yeah.
When he blocked Ushijima's spike. I know this is like, we're talking about episode 1, now we're talking about season 3 out of nowhere. I mean, it was just, that was passionate. It sent shivers on my spine. I'm still shaking up to this day. I remember when I first saw that episode, I was like, I actually was watching this when I was watching like consistently,
mm-hmm.
and I actually took the rest of the day off, and I was just thinking about that one moment. It was just like, that one episode stopped me from watching the rest of the show, the rest of the day.
That's amazing. That's actually really funny you say that you took the rest of the day off, because I was a manga reader at that point, and it was coming out every Friday at like 1 p.m. I think it's the same time now. But when I knew that episode was coming with that big moment, so I took off and like watched it at home. And like when that like scene happened, I was like freaking out so much. I just like was in the same boat as you. I just took I was emotional the rest of the day. I think I like spilled all the food I ordered. Like something really clumsy like that, but just an absolute mess over that scene. And I think it's definitely fair just to skip to that moment, because I think if anyone asked, like, what's the number one moment of Haikyuu, I think you'd get a lot of people saying that one.
Because, I mean, you look at it through this way. Some people will be like, well, I don't understand it. He just blocked volleyball and started yelling. Well, when you see him at day one, he isn't, like, the most passionate guy. He's just like, well, I'm good at what I do. I'm just gonna stay stagnant. And you see, like, season 2 a little bit when he's practicing with Kuro and Bokuto. He's starting to, get a little bit, like, more invested, but not all the way. And as soon as he blocks this most powerful man, which, when you first meet him, you have shivers down your spine, like when you first meet Oikawa, when you first meet Kageyama, or when you first meet Miya. It's just, you get this shiver down your spine, and he blocks this most powerful guy, which is almost impossible to block him.
Yeah, top 3 spikers in the nation. Yeah, I really love how, it's just such a, like, nice, subtle way of showing character development, and I think what I like the most is, a lot of Tsukishima's character rides on his backstory, and you kind of get an understanding for why he's not so passionate about volleyball based on, his brother lying and him kind of rationalizing it as, like, it's stupid to really get invested in something that will inevitably let you down or that can't directly help you in the future. And since he's such a logical guy, it's almost like he's looking for a reason to get invested in volleyball. And, when Bokuto's words really, like, struck a chord with him of, like, essentially, once you get good and you do some good shit, then you'll understand why it's so hype. And when he finally experiences that for himself, it's like it all clicks into place that that's the moment, like, that's what you're looking for. But what's cool is that it doesn't, like, fundamentally change him. It's not like he's automatically a big fan of Hinata or Kageyama or people who get, super emotional about stuff, on a regular basis. But it was like something really clicked in him, so he finally understood why people are like that. I think the moment, if you ask me, like, what's the moment of Haikyuu, just, like, pick one, and it's gotta be the Oikawa point at the end of season 2. It's the last point in the match. I think Karasuno takes the point, they win the whole match, and they go to the finals, and Oikawa is, like, off the court and does this ridiculous set, cross court, and he points at, Iwazumi, who's the ace of the team, and it's just, like, the most ridiculous, heated point of the game, of the series at that point, and, it's got the, talent is something you make bloom, instincts are something you polish quote, which I think is, one of the most impactful quotes in a sports anime that I think really captures the idea of hard work versus talent to a T. And then it turns into a really, like, heart-blowing loss for Oikawa's team, but it's also bittersweet because we care about Oikawa's team, but it's really sweet because we do get to see Karasuno take the win and go to the finals. I was thinking nationals, but, like, they go to the finals, and it's such a triumphant moment.
Going off of that one moment, I think just one moment that made me cry was after that match.
Yeah.
When Oikawa kind of bat pats at one dude, like, you did not fail.
Yeah, that was so cool. That was really cool because it was always like, that's his, like, best friend, and he's the one who kind of kept him on the, like, grounded path of, like, don't have this emotional reaction, stay focused, reassuring him all the time. So to see him return that favor and reassure him that he didn't fail was really awesome.
That's like, those two go hand in hand for that entire... I remember getting so hyped that Karasuno won, and directly after, I'm breaking down in tears.
Yeah,
It really does just that. I think that episode encapsulated why I love Haikyuu.
Yeah.
Even though the Tsukishima one also does, I think that probably encapsulates a lot more.
How did you feel about the worthless pride moment, like, immediately after? Oikawa was actually invited to go to Shiratorizawa and be, like, the setter at that team.
When I first heard that, I'm like, holy crap. He was going to go to this badass... And I guarantee you, if he actually went there, Karasuno would not be at Nationals.
No.
And I just love that.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see, because, most people would want to be with, like, the national best, but it really was interesting to see the way in which he carved his own path. And I think sticking to his philosophical guns like that is really compelling, and it's why he's still my favorite character in the series.
Even after, like, 300 chapters, you barely see him, like, in National. I mean, do we see him? I don't think we see him much, but we see him here and there.
We might, but, he's not playing at Nationals. Yeah, which is what you mean. Like, we don't see him performing at Nationals.
Yeah, and you don't see him physically. We see more... Let's say Hinata, we see more Karasuno.
Yeah.
We don't ever see him too much ever again until, like, maybe later on. But he's still a phenomenal character from just the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, agreed.
I think another moment going off of just Oikawa in general was when he was talking to Kageyama.
Yeah.
In season 2, when Kageyama was getting upset at Hinata, because Hinata wanted to improve, and Kageyama was like, no, we just gotta get faster.
Yeah.
I gotta improve. And Kageyama just doesn't realize that he isn't the only one that is on the team. A team is a team, not just him. And when Oikawa was like, yeah, you wanna know why you suck and why you aren't me? Well, because you suck at being a teammate.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. And that was just even though it wasn't hype, it was just a really moment when it comes to just, like, even though Oikawa didn't say much and seemed more berating, he was still being, like, a mentor to Kageyama at that point.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, even in his own petty way, he's actually providing guidance, which is really funny because, it's like he really doesn't want to help this guy. He knows will surpass him, but he can't help it, and it still ends up being, like, a really helpful piece of advice.
And that's why, like, and then when it comes to that, you just see the development unfold, and they don't talk, Hinata and Kageyama, they don't talk until, like, a match or something, but there's still, like, some interaction, and you just see him, like, try and practice. He wants to get better. He wants to help out Hinata. And he wants to help Hinata improve, which helps him improve, which helps the team improve. And it's just so amazing to see that unfold. And it all started with Oikawa.
Yeah.
That's how I always looked at it. It wasn't like the captain. It wasn't the coach, who went over to help train Hinata with his dad, I think it was. Or maybe his grandpa.
The coach's grandpa, I think, who was like...
I was like, his dad? No, that doesn't sound like his grandpa, who went over that. It wasn't him. Even though he played a valuable role in getting the two on the right path of having the right momentums, getting Hinata to learn the momentums and help Kageyama learn the right sets to get to Hinata. But it was Oikawa who got that passion inside of Kageyama, which is, like, really impressive to see that a different team setter who is like the enemy pretty much help out the other people, the enemy. It's just really impressive.
I always think it's kind of interesting when you think about it, how Kageyama has always looked up to Oikawa as, like, this mentor figure and someone he can gain, like, a lot of insight from. And Oikawa has always looked at him as, like, his number one enemy. And I think it's really funny just to see, like...
That's always great.
Yeah, it's so funny. So I really like their dynamic a lot, and I think they always have some really great moments together. I guess we gotta continue our train of jumping to different seasons, but I want to bring up, let's see, I'm torn between two from this latest season, but I wanted to bring up the Tanaka moment that got him trending worldwide on Twitter, which is, like, sometimes you get, like, Demon Slayer episode 19 trended worldwide on Twitter. Sometimes My Hero Academia news trends on Twitter. This is, like, kind of rare for Haikyuu in a way. Well, I mean, it's been more recent lately, but it's still kind of rare to see anime trend worldwide in general. But Tanaka's moment was so awesome and so, overdue that it was so great to see him just trend online, and everyone was quoting it, like, my average self is such a compelling theme that he embodies of, like, he knows he's not the most flashy or consistent. He is consistent, but he knows he's not the most powerful setter, but his consistent mental fortitude helps the team, especially when they're down and, like, really need someone to lean on. So to see all of his themes portrayed in such a really cool way was so awesome to see. That was so hype, and it's so cool because in this current match they're in, against the, Inazaki? I say it Inazari?
Inazari.
That's what I thought. I don't know why I added a K, that's weird. But the Inazari team is called the Ultimate Challengers, and that's kind of like the Karasuno's motto too. So it's almost like they're going up against what would be considered a better version of themselves and trying to take them down. So I really like how they are just kind of trying to beat them at their own game. And that's been super fun to see so far, and I'm glad that Tanaka finally got his time to shine.
Yeah, I want to go back to season 1. One moment that I think made me cry the most. Well, one of the most times in Haikyuu that I legitimately was crying the rest of the day. And that was when, Karasuno, this unstoppable force, lost.
Yeah.
When they lost to Aoba Josai. That final match, when Hinata failed. That one match, that final point, I was on the edge of my seat. I knew how it was going to go down, because I already was spoiled that season 2. They come back and win in the rematch, but I was like, wait a minute. I was still stunned that they lost. It was just like,
Yeah.
and then Hinata crying, and then Kageyama's crying, and just like even going after that, after that match, you see pretty much what I call eat and grow, where you just see the entire team eating, but they're crying during that time, and just the entire episode after that match, I was crying. Every time they were crying, I was crying. It just felt like I was connected to this team in just like one season, and just seeing them lose just hurt. Even though I wanted both teams to win, it still hurt.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It was they presented it so well too, because the way they showed everyone just kind of sitting down and letting the loss hit them, and then, you know, as soon as they start eating, they're all crying. It's just a really cool way of showing, you know, the emotions of everyone involved. And, you know, they didn't need anyone to tell us, like, I'm crushed by this devastating loss, or they didn't really even need, like, the coach to be like, you guys did good, but we'll get him next time. Like, they don't need any of that. You know, it's just all implied through their actions, and I think that's really great to see.
Yeah, I fully agree. Like, when it comes to just like some shows when you're just over exaggerating everything to make you cry, that doesn't make me. I haven't seen Clannad, and I've heard that it does that. I'm like, I wouldn't like that. I really would not like that. I just want to see what Haikyuu did, and that was just them just sitting down, eating, and then them crying. That's all I need to know. That's all I have to have. I mean, it also helps. Like, even if they didn't have that, and we're just gonna go with the common strategy, just like, you'll get it next time, I would still be crying. Because I'm invested into these characters. Right?
Yeah, I think it's really impressive how they make us feel so attached to these characters, because a lot of people would say, you know, why are you crying over imaginary cartoon characters who've just lost a match? And it's like, you know, the way they built this up, this is almost like a character death in a show. You know, we've gotten so attached to this whole team, we've gotten attached to seeing them play and succeed and overcome their, you know, insecurities and their issues. So, you know, seeing that and seeing their dreams be temporarily stopped is really heartbreaking. So, I mean, I'm with you. It's definitely tear-jerking. It made me cry a bit, but I'm also glad that it's not the end of their journey and that they keep going on.
And one of the things I always hate that is like common in sports anime is like, oh, our senpai's about to leave, we gotta win for them. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And they showed you, yeah, our senpai's about to leave, and they lost. What you gonna do now, boys?
Yeah.
And it really just hit hard. It hit home. And I was talking to my parents directly after. I just called them. I'm like, hey, you know how you guys always complain that I cry over a show? Yeah, I cried again.
That's so funny. You're like, hey guys, I'm at it again.
Hey. But yeah, I think that's like one of the top times I've ever cried in the show. I mean, I cried a lot, but that was just hard.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've cried throughout the rest of the series at that point. You know, at least in the anime yet. We cut it off at anime. But one of the times I got like emotional in like, you know, a negative emotional way was when in season 2 when Hinata and Kageyama have their like actual fight. And I really love this. You know, at the time I hated it because I was like, why are they fighting? I felt like Yachi in the moment. I'm like, bro, why are they fighting? Like, you know, why can't you guys just talk this out? And then, you know, seeing them actually fight and be upset by them fighting and seeing the fallout was really interesting because I really love how it feels like just such a traditional, like, this is how high school guys on a team would react to something like this. It's like they have a physical fight, they get mad, but then they both set out to do what they want to do to resolve the situation. And like in Kageyama's position, it's, you know, trying to get his sets at the perfect spot for all the get his sets at the perfect spot for all the spikers, and for Hinata, it's to actually be able to control himself in the air to better maximize their opportunity to score without relying on Kageyama's sets. So the way they show them just both going about trying to fix these issues, and then from Yachi's point of view, she thinks they're both mad at each other, and they're like, no, we're not mad, we're just trying to fix this, and we're not talking until we fix this issue. It was just like such a perfect way of resolving it that I think felt so authentic to real life team activities and attitudes.
That fight, when it first happened, I was like, I remember me being torn. When I know it was like, they're gonna get resolved. It was just, I was torn to pieces because these two are now fighting, and it's just like, it hurt. It really did hurt because you just see the two people you grew up with. It's like watching your two family members fight, and like legitimately, not in an argument, but fight. And I was just torn.
Mm-hmm.
I was legitimately just torn. Or two friends. I mean, I understand why they were fighting. But we're just like, I'm so torn. This is so sad.
Yeah.
I think going back to, I think this happened in season 2 and season 1, but I want to say one moment that really made Oikawa this present, this force, was when he first spiked. Well, not his spike, but when he first served. That when he served, I was like, I legitimately got off from my seat and walked around. I paused the episode, walked around, like, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. Because I didn't see that coming. He legitimately just, like an anime style spike, Goku slapping the volleyball, and just like the impact is shown on there, and it's just 1 second's there and 1 second's back there. And I remember seeing that, I was just, Haikyuu, you did it again, boy.
Yeah, like the way they have their own spike animation for his serves. I don't know why I'm saying spike animation. They have his own serve animation, and it's like some of the coolest looking animation in the show. It's like so awesome to see. It's just so cool. Like the way they really make you feel like he's this final boss type character is awesome, because you really feel like he's the challenge to overcome.
Yeah.
I think getting into a moment that I think it counts. It's more than just one moment, but I think it's the final point of the Shuri Torizawa match. And I love so much about it. It could almost be 3 different moments, but just seeing the way, they utilize the visual symbolism to show the overwhelming pressure that Uchijima has on Tsukishima and Hinata, as they show it at, I don't know if you remember, but I mean, I've seen a lot of pictures.
I have the visual going on through my mind.
You probably know. It's, in the, like, black setting, but then they have the purple of Uchijima's jersey, like, highlighting his character, and it's, like, pushing down, physically pushing Tsukishima and Hinata down, and they show by Tanaka and Daichi, like, picking up the slack, they're, like, physically pushing him off them, and then that translates into the big, 360 shot they do, showing everyone going up at once, and how, like, the crow feathers fly by when Hinata jumps up, and they've won the point. It's awesome. It looks dope. Everyone's hyped. And then they pan over to the Shuri Torizawa coach, who always believes in heightened power over talent, so to speak, or let's say unusual talent. And, he's crushed because his philosophies have just been utterly annihilated.
That one moment, I actually have really on here, and not just I have the final point of Shuri Torizawa, but I separated that moment, because that moment is so impactful, because you just see, like, I actually will rewatch this exact moment earlier today, so that's why it's, like, so ingrained in my memory. I already knew the memory, but you have, like, it first starts with Ushijima pushing down. His pressure is immense on both Hinata and Tsukishima, and then all of a sudden, I think Daichi or Tanaka fire. Actually, it might have been Asahi. He spikes, and then sees him lifting up, and then he sees another guy spiking, which is Tanaka or Daichi. They spike, another person lifts up, and then another person lifts up. It it became hype as soon as they all started fighting, and then the entire team is lifting up Uchijima. And you see Uchijima, like, in this form, he's like, oh god, the pressure of them is now overwhelming me. Who is just like, he has all the pressure on Hinata, on Kageyama, on all of them, but now he is getting the pressure from Karasuno onto him. It was just so amazing on so many different levels.
Yeah, it's such an incredible last point. I'm almost torn because I like that more, the way it incorporates the whole team and kind of works thematically is awesome, but then it's tough comparing that to, like, Oikawa's last point. So there's a lot of great final points, but I don't think you can go wrong preferring either or.
Going off of Uchijima particularly, I'm going to say this is not the first time we met him, because obviously we met him when we met Oikawa talking to him, but when Uchijima runs into Hinata and Kageyama running, and they just run together. That moment was so amazing. I'm just talking about the run, not the thing that happens after. Just the run alone. You just see him. Like, he's better than them in every way already, except a little bit. But you just see, like, already he's just like, yeah, you guys got nothing on me. Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm cool. And then going after that moment, directly after, I'm gonna put 2 moments in run. That just the run moment was amazing. And then on top of that, when he's just looking down on them, and he's like, you guys got nothing on me. Throws up a volleyball, about to jump up, and Hinata comes out of nowhere, runs up, grabs it, does a little slide, and then just looks at him with that, like, sinister looking look, just that dark look, like, you really think you can beat us? Come at me, bitch. It was just like, as soon as Hinata grabbed the ball, that was another moment I lifted up my seat and I just walked around.
Yeah. Yeah, you almost have to do a lap because it's so hype. Yeah, I absolutely love that. I don't know, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I don't know if I can think of a better second season first episode. Because, it's like, second season first episodes have to do a lot. They kind of have to, like, reestablish everything that's happened in the first season and then set us up for everything coming later on. And I don't know if I can think of a better one than, all of their training in the beginning and then ending with that. And that, like, shit's going down this season.
I don't know how Furudate did that. He's one of my favorite manga writers. I trust him so much. I know he ended it, but I just trust him.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool how you're like, yeah, I can trust this guy to keep making Kino.
Mm-hmm. It's same thing with, like, Ichiro Oda from One Piece. I can trust him because I know how he's going to do it. There's some it's like, I don't know. Hirokoshi, I think it's, like, my hero. I don't know. It's like, okay. Sometimes you have some okay arts, like, or some really good arts, like the Overhaul or the Endeavor arc. And as you think, we have a training arc, there's absolute dog shit. Okay, I can't trust you. Where Oda and Furudate, I've never disliked an arc that they made.
Yeah, that consistency is very appreciated. You can definitely appreciate just how much comfort you can go into each arc knowing, like, okay, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I trust you that you'll make something I enjoy. Well, I could think of one. I think we were just mentioning it. It's kind of interesting because for season 4, they ended the first part of season 4 in the middle of the Inazari match, but they ended it, like, right after showing Atsumu's serve. And I love how the Inazari team does such a good job of showing the different ways outside factors can impact a match. And you see that with their crowd, who they have like a trained cheering section who knows just how to fuck with their opponents, either by booing or making lots of noises when they're serving. But then you can see how controlled they are by, when Miya Atsumu is going up to serve, he's like conducting them and telling them to stop as soon as he's about to serve. And just seeing him do that is enough to let you know, like, okay, this guy is a big deal.
It's just going down.
Yeah, exactly. Shit's going down.
That serve was just so hype. Just him just like, shut up. And I loved how that one girl was like, why are we stopping? And then he's just like, we love you, yada yada. And he just looked at him like,
yeah, he's like, shut the fuck up. Like, you guys gotta stop.
I need my concentration. You fucked me up. You're about to die now. And she was like, oh shit. I think another good spike was Ushijima when he spiked. Mad Dog when he spiked. But going off of Mad Dog, when he first did, when he was just running a parallel line, you had no idea what, you're like, why is he running parallel? I have no idea what's going on. And you just see him whip that ball all the way, like, saying, fuck all the defenders, I'm voting that way, you guys got nothing. And it's just like, what just happened?
Yeah, and even, like, his own team didn't know.
Yeah, no one knew what was going on. And Mad Dog's just like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
Or even when he messed up, like, you see, like, his power is unreal. Even when he messes up. It's just all around great.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And they have some, like, very interesting animation styles because they show just how, it's, like, a very sketchy art style that's still really fluid, but it makes him stand out from the rest of the team, which looks very polished. And it makes for a very cool effect.
I fully agree. Another one I really want to go over real quick is season, was it 1? Maybe 2. When, I actually want to say season 2. When Yamaguchi finally becomes the pinch serving ace.
Yes.
That was when all of the moments you see with him pays off. I think it was like the end of season 2 when he finally does it. And just like, I do not like this dude.
Yeah.
How can this guy grow on me out of nowhere? And just like, I don't know. I just, as soon as he made it, I kind of paused the episode and some tears broke down. I'm like, that's my boy.
Yes. Yeah, I was wondering, that's like the perfect moment to bring up because there's so many times I'm watching this cast and they do anything and I'm like, that's my boy, I raised him. And it's like, I did not raise him, he's not my kid, but I feel like he's my kid because we've watched so much of their development and seen all the hardships they've gone through. So to see them finally succeed, it's almost like, yes, I feel like I succeeded because they succeeded.
I fully agree, and that's why they do so well.
Yeah.
One thing they also do well that I don't think I can give to much anime is that they can give like a simple backstory, a simple 2-minute backstory of the opposite team, and now you're rooting for the opposite team as well as Karasuno. And when that opposite team loses, you're crying your asses off.
Yeah.
I think they do that so well, especially when like the very first season comes out when they pretty much annihilate that one team. And you just see, you know they're gonna lose. You know it. And then they show like a simple, like a minute flashback. And now I'm breaking down in tears. I'm like, oh, my boys are gonna win, but my other boys. They can't, devastated. We can't have that.
Yeah, they have one. They have one episode that I think is in season 1 that's called Winners and Losers, and it's such a great tribute just to every aspect of competitive sports, like the winner side who feel triumphant because they won, and then the losers who have, you know, their regrets over maybe not practicing enough, maybe they didn't perform as well as they could have, but like they still feel crushed because they lost. And it's so great to see all of that encapsulated in one episode. And
I can't give like too many people who have done that, because there's been times it's hard for me to feel like, say I'm watching Goku beat Frieza. I don't feel shit for Frieza. I don't feel anything for him. It's like, okay, you get what you deserve. I don't feel anything for like when Luffy beats someone, except maybe here and there. But it's just like, he does it so well that even if you look at Uchijima for example, you feel almost nothing for him but this intimidating presence. But when he loses, you feel for him. It's like, this man who pretty much grew up on winning finally lost, and now what is he going to go through? He's finally experienced that loss. And they do it so well. It's hard for me not to love.
I know, you really do love everyone in the cast. And I feel like they put in a lot of work to make it so you love everyone in the cast, so it does feel very well earned. But I can't think of other casts where I'm genuinely like, yo, that one side character with 5 minutes of screen time, he's my boy.
I mean, you look at, Kyoko and Hitoko have very little screen time.
Yeah.
But holy fucking shit, they were one of my favorite characters. And they're both like top tier waifus for me. Out of like a couple like supporting casts, like that's very rare.
I wanted to bring up one scene that I think we've talked a lot about the hype moments and about the emotional moments, but I think something that makes those scenes so hype and emotional, or at least contributes to, you know, how endeared we are to the cast, is one of the comedic moments for me. And I think the comedy is really funny. I know some people don't like it, or some people do really like it. I don't know. It can be, I don't know. I guess it's hit or miss for people, but I think the majority of the people really like it. But I don't think they understand, like, just how well written the dialogue is for the comedy to make it feel like true team banter. And one of my favorite scenes is actually right after that hype moment at the beginning of season 2, where, you know, Hinata and Kageyama challenge Uchijima, saying, you know, we're gonna beat you and go to nationals, and you got all the hype going. They roll back up to the team, and you got the hype music swelling, and then their facility advisor reveals, you guys can't go to the training camp unless you pass all your exams. And it's like, you hear the music record scratch, and you just see, like, Kageyama, Hinata, Noya, and Tanaka just all have, like, mental breakdowns because they have to pass their exams. So, like, that whole scene of, like, everyone on the team realizing just how stupid they are and realizing the effort it will take for them to pass an exam is absolutely hilarious.
And then, like, they fail.
And then they fail. Yeah, like, then they actually fail, and you're like, after all that, they still just fail. But it's funny seeing, like, you know, how they make it back to Tokyo. But just that entire segment is just absolutely hysterical. Every time I watch it, I'm, like, rolling, laughing. And I think they do a good job of making us enjoy the in-between moments, so then once we get to the hype, emotional moments, you know, we're fully invested.
Which is always a great thing for a series. I legitimately, it's like One Piece. I find One Piece hilarious. I found Haikyuu hilarious. And then you look at like, things that are supposed to be hilarious. I've seen comedy anime that are not the best. I'm not gonna lie. I think Haikyuu and One Piece are better than comedies. It's like those little bits that it's like, okay, you hype here, but we gotta make you laugh here, and then we're gonna create we're just gonna make you insecure that you're gonna be laughing. That's, you know, we're hitting you with this fastball that's gonna make you cry.
Yeah, I mean, I do love Kaguya humor a lot. I'd put that on point, but I totally get what you mean. I think, you know, Haikyuu humor, I don't want to say underrated, but definitely some of the best out there.
One of the first hypest moments in Haikyuu was all come from season 1, of course, but it was with Asahi. When Asahi, you hear about this ace from a little bit. It isn't until like episode 8 when he's finally introduced. You just hear about him, and you're just like, how good is this guy? But he failed against this one. How good is he? I want to know more about this guy. And then we finally faced Tet, the Iron Wall, and this wall broke Asahi, and now he's back. He wants revenge on this wall. He wants to come back, and he wants to win. And you just see this new passion, and he's failing. He's failing left and right against this team. But as soon as he breaks the wall, just once, just that one time, he broke through it. and he saw the other side, I legitimately was in mixed feelings of hype and crying. It was like that happy cry that you get. I was just in tears because I was happy that he finally did this. He finally broke through the wall. His goal from day one now. He did it. And it's hard for me to say that for any other character except him. So it's just unbelievable how good they did it.
Yeah, I really like what they've done with Asahi's character, especially because you think that he's gonna be kind of like this thug tough guy based on how he looks, but he's like, you know, he's like such a teddy bear.
I think he's one of my favorites, to be honest.
Yeah, he's kind of he's definitely underrated, I think. He has like a lot of great moments, and they definitely are really compelling and embody the themes really well, in my opinion.
I think I like him better than Dachi.
Ooh, that's definitely
it's a hot take, but that's how I would feel.
Yeah, I'll take it though.
I think one of my favorite characters, I think this guy's very underrated, is Suga.
Suga, yeah.
I love the dude. He's one of my favorites. You barely see him, and every time he goes onto sets, just do play Kageyama or just to go on. I know, actually speaking of this part, when season 1 hits, where he finally replaced Kageyama, because Kageyama's breaking down. You don't see Kageyama break down. He's breaking the fuck down.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I understand you're this prodigy, but let me take over. You need to calm down.
Yeah.
I'll take over. We'll do this. Just calm down, and we can do this together. And him coming on kind of broke my heart, because you saw Kageyama finally break down. But Suga, it replenished that heart, because he finally gets to shine. I'm like, I can't wait. I want this guy to shine. I want him to be part of this team. And just like every time he comes on, it just like always hyped me up. I'm like, I want this guy to come back, and I want him to set. But I also want Kageyama to set. Who do I want to set? I want them both to set.
Yeah.
It just, even this bench people is like, I want the bench people in now. Can I get the bench?
Yeah. It's like it's really compelling too, because we're so used to like, you know, seniors get seniority over other people, like they get their chance to shine. And I really like how Suga is such a team player and puts, you know, the team winning over his own desire to be a setter, but he knows that, like, you know, he's like, I'm gonna play like my best. I'm not gonna like give this to you willingly, you know. I'm gonna make it a challenge. But he's kind of like the team mom. Like, as soon as he shows up, like, he does so much for the entire team and keeps them grounded in a way that is expected of, like, a vice captain. So he lives up to the role very well.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna throw this out here. I know this might be coming off a spoiler, but it's like time skip spoiler. I was kind of hoping it would end up with Kyoko. Not gonna lie.
I was thinking that too. We can talk about that more. We can talk about that
off screen.
Yeah,
off
but
screen.
I feel you. That's definitely a good discussion.
And then another shocking moment was when it was not the main point in season 2 when they're fighting Orikawa, but the moment after. Before that, where Tanaka runs into Dachi.
Yeah.
And we have this shocking feeling of like, don't tell me, is Dachi gonna not be in the rest of the fight? Please tell me I see more Dachi. Please.
Yeah.
Do not end Dachi here. And just like, does he have, and when we finally hear the news, it's like, oh, thank God. He doesn't have one. Now we can see more of him. But that moment, we felt what Tanaka was feeling. We were worried the shit out of him. So, well, that's how I felt. I don't know about you.
That's how I felt. It's like so funny that created the Dachi died meme that Furuidate actually saw and recently commented on in the guidebook. Like, they made a funny reference to that actual scene, which I think is so funny. Like, the fact that the fan base memed that into existence is hysterical.
Dachi did die. It's so sad, guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we had to spoil it, but Dachi did die. It really is sad.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Dachi. Another good one is when Nishinoya, when he saves the day twice. This is one I actually was watching, like, just some hype moments in Haikyuu, and I was looking at Nishinoya. It was when he was facing Shiro Torizawa. When he first saves, it was like, I think Dachi was like, kind of, I gotta do this. I might be thinking about a different one, but he was like, okay, I gotta do this. And Nishinoya comes in, saves the day once, and then it goes back, Uchijima spikes it again, and then right back to back, he saves it again.
Yeah, the double save. I remember that.
That man.
That was awesome.
Like, this is one of... I forgot about this. And then I was like, I remember this now. How did I forget this moment? I'm so sad.
Yeah.
So, it really was one of the hypest moments in the series. When Nishinori saved the day. Not once, but twice.
In the same, like, moment. Like, that's what's impressive. Like, the double save. And I remember they show... One of my favorite parts of the whole series is... Well, not the whole... One of my favorite parts of, you know, overall, the series is they show the audience reactions. And that is always fantastic. That is so funny just to see, you know, how are the other people reacting to this? And that actually made, like, Oikawa, like, jump out of his seat. He's like, oh my god, holy shit.
I remember seeing that, and I was just like, I laughed a little bit when I saw Oikawa pop out. It's just so good.
It's such an important part of matches, too, like commentators and spectators. So, like, putting that all together is just so funny.
I don't know. There's just so many things. We obviously won't go through all of them because there's so many. I don't know if you saw the movie of the second movie, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
When Shiratorizawa, it was the aftermath of the fight, where you see Uchijima talking to his people. His teammates, and just like, we know this is my last year. I'm sorry we couldn't go to nationals again. I'm sorry, but I believe in you guys. It's so, I think this is how it went. He just started kind of breaking down and having this kind of, he didn't cry. And that was the more emotional part. It's like, he didn't cry. He was trying to, I guarantee you deep down, or he probably when he went, let's say he went back home, he probably broke down back at home. But he knew he was this structure. He knew he was this fortress for his team. And he's like, I have to do this. I know my team needs me the most at this moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tough it out. And he toughs it out. It was... That's like one thing that made me cry. I'm like, I don't know how you did this, man. I'm crying just thinking of this.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about how tough this is for you, and I feel for you. Love that.
And that's why I think he writes his character so well. I don't think he had any part of the movie, but even if he didn't, these people gave me more feelings for Uchijima than I already did.
Yeah, it's so cool because, you know, he has like, it's not like a tragic backstory or anything, but, you know, he has a compelling backstory, but they just make them such compelling, normal characters on a moment-to-moment basis. So they feel very human.
Do you have any final moments you would like to go over?
I don't know. I think that's essentially it for right now, because we covered a lot. We talked about a lot of great stuff a lot of great stuff over it. I think, and you got so many small details. I will say, I'm going to add one more moment, because you brought up the movie. So I'm not sure if that was the second or third movie, but I know that they actually added content to the movie that covers the Seijo match right before the Shiratorizawa match, and going off the theme of, you know, seniors kind of carrying the burdens for the underclassmen. They show, you know, Oikawa and all the other seniors packing up, and, you know, they don't want to start crying, but then they show, like, Oikawa has to thank them all for being great, and then they all just start bawling. And after that, him and Iwazumi are walking back, and then Iwazumi says something like, you know, you're probably the kind of guy who won't be happy until he's an old man, and then that's the only time he'll be content with life, but you gotta keep pushing forward, because you'll always be the best setter I had, but even if I face you again, I'm gonna do everything I can to defeat you. And that was just such an awesome moment that they actually added to the anime that's not in the source material, but is actually referenced later on in the source material, which is really awesome to see, you know? When they start adding things that feel like they're so naturally part of the story, that's when, you know, you got a really good adaptation for people who really care about it.
It really is just really good. I don't think there's too much to say. Even the movies are phenomenal. Even if they're just recaps, they're just super good.
Yeah.
Because you see more of it. I think another final moment I want to go over is one we didn't go over. It's one of the more hype moments. Was when we first see the finished product of Hinata and Kageyama. Not the first space set, because that was already hype in like the first season when we first see it happen. That was hype. I'm talking about the finished product. When Hinata is now able to aim with his eyes open and Kageyama is setting correctly to him. That final product, which is the final product of the entire team, Asi finally able to do his jump serves. That I can't remember what it's called, but that momentum where they're all running into Spike. That stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I forget what it's called. I think it's like the Yeah, but I know what you're talking about, where they all try and trick the opponent by them all running up to spike it.
And seeing all those finished products in one little moment just brings out all the hype. It's like, we've seen them from day one all the way here. They aren't finished yet. And you know they aren't finished yet. You're like, how much further can they go? They're so close to being finished, but they would never be finished, right, in real life. If you were to, let's say, I become the greatest setter in all of, America. Well, that doesn't mean my job is finished. Because I can still go for the entire world, not just America. And when I hit that, I can still keep on improving. And I love how they know they can keep on improving and they don't just stay stagnant. And that's one of the greatest things I love about it that can be applied to real life. And I've always told this to people many times. It's like, all because anime is fake doesn't mean you can't apply some of that stuff you see in fake shows into real life. Like, I applied Asta, who's an annoying fucking character, but his never give up attitude inspires me to never give up. I may not be exactly like Asta, but I try to never give up like him. Same thing with like a Kazuma. I believe in true gender equality. We're on the same path here. I'll drop kick a girl any day of the week. Oh man, I'm gonna get canceled real quickly for that, but I'm fine with that. True gender equality. But it's just, heck, even one thing I take from Haikyuu in general is fly high. That's always my outro in all my videos, and even when I'm on stream, I always say fly high at points, because how I feel that is implied from the song is, it isn't just like, oh, Hinata's flying high. No, I'm not saying, oh, he's jumping higher, that's flying high. No, I want you to aim high. I want your goals to be high up. Because if you have high expectations, you may achieve that. If you think, okay, you want to have goals that is like reasonable, such as like, I want to get 100 subs on YouTube by the end of this year. That's reasonable. If you're like 50 subs, that's reasonable. But having that high goal, such as like, I want 1 million subs. That's my final goal. I want that goal. And you have that goal. That's what I mean by flying high. I want you to have goals that you can fly high with. I don't want you to just stay stagnant. I want you to go bigger, further, beyond. I want you to go plus ultra. Pretty much, that's just all in 2 words of fly high. I didn't do this in real life. Whenever I'm talking to someone and I want to be more motivational to them, I always end with fly high. Every day.
Yeah.
And that all came from Haikyuu. I never said that until I saw Haikyuu.
Yeah, and that's great words to live by.
I just love that. I don't think there's one thing I don't love about that. It's just fly high. I mean, it's simple as that. Two words is all you need to know about going further beyond. You have stuff like My Hero. My Hero, I crap on a lot, but Go Beyond plus Ultra, they aren't just talking about, okay, get stronger, boy. Go beyond your limits. That is true. Go beyond your limits. Set goals beyond that you can usually go. And that's just stuff I love to know. I think they do it so well in Haikyuu that made me want to take it away and use it for my own sake. Because I just love that inspirational.
And, people will kind of clown on the idea of, let's say taking anime too seriously, which I don't think this is. I don't think that's taking anime too seriously. But people might clown on that idea. But that's like the whole point of media in general, is to have impactful takeaways, conceptually or emotionally. And taking that into real life is like the point of discovering new favorites. So I think that's great. Even if we're not, going to become professional volleyball players. I don't want to speak for you. You might still become a professional volleyball player. I won't overreach. But I think my volleyball career is kind of over once I was born and became 5'3", so kind of over. But, we could take the lessons learned from the show and apply them to real life, and makes us happy and keeps us going forward. That's awesome.
So sadly, I had to down and become all-around great volleyball player. I play volleyball a lot now, but I'm not like in a team. We just play for fun.
Yeah.
So I think
I guess no one is now with Corona, so.
Yeah, it's a big sad. I want to, if Corona actually ends, I can finally go out and actually be volleyball players again. I will want to attempt to become a volleyball player. I don't think I'm going to be the greatest at it. I'm a lot better at setting than I am spiking. I suck at spiking,
that's cool.
So I kind of learned from Oikawa.
Yeah. Yeah, he's our GOAT.
I remember when he first did the setter dunk. I actually did that.
Oh my gosh.
when I played volleyball the very next day with a couple friends, I did that against them. I was like,
that's amazing.
And I was like, I just did it. I had no idea how to do it. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go up for a set. Oh, fuck you. And they were all like, I was aiming for one of my guys. His name was Tyler. I was aiming for him, and he was going for a spike, and he was even confused. Like, hell yeah. I was like, I'm able to do that, right? He's like, yeah, of course. That's a setter dunk. I'm like, heck yeah, Haikyuu knows this stuff. I even said that.
Up. That's amazing.
Even I got all my friends who play volleyball to watch Haikyuu, and they love it. So it's like
that's cool.
None of them watch anime, but we can bond over that. We all love Haikyuu.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's always cool because I always wonder, like, does this get the cosign from volleyball players? And knowing that it does from a lot of them, I'm like, okay, this feels more legit. So I'm happy with that.
That's how I feel because I play volleyball now a lot more than I used to. I know all the positions. I know what it means to be each position. Obviously, there's some things that are like really hard to do, such as the jumping serve. What I love about what Asahi did, it shows you how hard it is actually to learn that jump serve. I practiced that serve for I think months. I legitimately was going 3 months in during the COVID pandemic. That was all I did was go outside and practice that serve. I wanted to be better at serving, so I started serving first. And then I was like, okay, time to actually start the jump serve. I've only had 5 successful ones out of millions of tries. Like, I would say if I had to say how many times I tried this exact serve, I would say close to 3,000 times that entire time during COVID of like 3 months or something. Like close to 10,000 times. And it tells you, what I love that Haikyuu did is like, of course it isn't like, oh, they just learned out of nowhere. How did they do that? Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
He just learned it. No. We saw Asi fail many times with it. And it isn't like, even when you do finally learn it, what I love that the show does is like, it isn't always gonna work. You may overshot, you may undershot, you may hit the net, you may actually hit your own player. And I love how they actually show that in Haikyuu.
Yeah.
So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think that's all I have for my moments. Thank you so much for coming on. If you guys want to know more about Shocking, she'll tell you where to find her at.
So, I prattle on about Haikyuu a lot more on our anime podcast. You can find us on YouTube just looking up r/anime podcast, and you can follow us on Twitter at Tokyo Podfathers, and you can follow me on Twitter at Shawking807. So, thanks again for having me. It was so much fun to go over all the Haikyuu moments, and it's so great to think about the ones that don't get mentioned as often. So, I'm so excited, and I hope maybe more people will have fun talking about Haikyuu, or maybe some people will even go watch Haikyuu now. So, I'm excited.
Links to all her Twitter, her YouTube channel, all that will be in the description below. And I hope you guys all have a phenomenal rest of the day. And I just thank you guys so much for the 100 subs. And I'll see you guys all again. And just remember, guys, to fly high.